gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Jules and Rob. Talk about lots of interesting and strange things, mostly about being killed in Dock 2. We've been killed a lot.
In the last few years,
Generically.
Indeed. So, well, we both do a bit of part-time extra work as actors. As some of you in the room know, you've known me for like 20 years or something. I've always been a sci-fi fan, so the chance to get to do any work in a sci-fi show, such as Doctor Who or with Rob Torchwood, is an absolute dream come true, even if you're only there for a day or two. The question I get most asked is, how did you ever get into being an extra? And
This fault.
it is something that absolutely anybody can do if you're free and are able to get to a location within about a week's notice, sometimes a couple of days notice.
If you don't mind being herded around and travelling a lot like a salmon.
It can be a bit like that. It can be like that. But it is very, very simple to be an extra if you want to be an extra.
And the catering is separate.
If
you're on location, it's brilliant. They fed my dog sausages. My dog's been an extra. He's in a pilot episode that they're trying to sell to the BBC at the moment. It was a futuristic cop thing. And we filmed under the Severn Bridge. And 3 days my 10-year-old Rottweiler was being pampered. And they all knew him better than they knew me.
It's true. When you get to a set, I mean, you are looked after. You're catered for. I mean, they're looking after the crew. And you eat what the main stars in, you're treated the way, except you're at last. If you're an extra, you're out with the camera guy, all the actors, then it's just the extras after the director's done.
You do have to warn them if you don't want things, but they find this is not a good thing. Breakfast full English with everything on it is not necessarily positive.
But yeah, back to what I was saying, just to become an extra, if anyone's interested, it is dead easy. There's 3 agencies like locally, one in Bristol which is very good, Phoenix. You literally just, they've got a website, and you can just phone them up and say they'll send you an application.
Well, the application form was online.
Or even online now,
yeah. Close temporary, so they should be able to try and sell them the bots from Southwest Casting. So, they've got their books for it.
That's true, but if you want to do it, if there's a will, there's a way. And I can prove it can happen. If you're lucky, you can do it and end up doing something really good.
Yeah, I know one chap who's been doing it 10 years and he's got 10 different agents selling in London, and he's never not working. He's got an Audi out of it and he's making a living.
There are people who do make a living out of it, but you've got to be quite dedicated to do that. And be prepared to go all over the country.
And have GPS.
But as a hobby, it's really good if you can do it, if you can get the time off. For me, I had a real patch in 2005 when I was working every month, a day or two every single month, similar to what Rob's been doing recently. But then I came along and then I changed jobs, and it's been tough. I've only done one film this year, which is a German film with that, so I don't think we're going to get to see it. But that was down here.
Well, the book is set on the moors as well, so
Yeah,
I did half an hour. I was sat there having breakfast with the truck driver while the main stars had their breakfast, and we were discussing how their breakfast was. But we were 1,400 foot above sea level, and trying to light a cigarette was quite something. Yeah, and then they said, "Off you go then." I turned up there at 7 o'clock in the morning, just hammering down with rain. Out towards. Yeah, 2 bridges, out past 2 bridges. And they were all set up there waiting.
Obviously, I started out doing casualty, you've done casualty now.
Yeah, I'm a paramedic biker on casualty. What I do this month. Anytime you see a paramedic biker who's supposed to be Greg, because I had the same hair, same eyebrows, same top of the nose, and then you wear a snoot. They've never been able to work someone that close to the camera, so I'm doing all little stunts like up and down curves, in and out of cars with a little bit of gaps to spare. I've never sat on a BMW 1100 in my life. This is the first thing. I'm used to the smaller bikes. And but this thing is like driving a whale. It's incredible. It's blue flashing lights, so you get to scare everybody out of the way. And every time I finished my little stunt, I was going around the 200-yard run up to begin the stunt again with the blue light flashing, and all the neighbours from the local blocks of buildings looking. You know, it was quite impressive.
So casualty, it's especially if you're down here, it's just, you're going to be doing it. Yeah. Once I was on this agency, 2 weeks later, I had my first casualty.
Some of the janitors on casualty have been 13 years, something like that.
So they're regular. You can do, if you're an extra and you want to do a lot of it, you can do it every 6 weeks. That's like the cycle. They don't want you to do it more than 6 weeks because you will get recognised, even if it's just a shoulder or an elbow that gets in shoulder.
Last week's casualty, my shoulder. It was in 3 days filming. One left-hand red shoulder was me from about 10 foot away, coming through a pair of double doors behind all the action. And that was it. But within the 3 days worth of filming, and you know, just.
A lot of it is luck of the draw. If you know, I had another friend in one day on casualty, but they were on location in like the superpop up there, and he was playing in the lane next to the main actress. So he was in the foreground, and he was in it loads. I did a day on Dan's Work, and Ricky Tomlinson's character was in a prison, it's supposed to be in prison, but I was at the very next table next to him. And the camera was where you are now, Rob, and it was filmed between me and the woman I was speaking to onto them. So for that, on a Sunday night, I hadn't told anyone I'd even done it. And so I had no idea I was going to get that much exposure. And then I was getting phone calls, oh, well, you're on BBC One, oh, what? Straight up on a Sunday night, and that really hit.
That's been great to give the family something to focus on, to look forward to. There's, you know, there's potentially, you know, to watch for, like playing spot the ball. That's the most distracting.
You never know. I mean, you really don't. The first film I did, which was King Arthur, Keira Knightley, Clive Owen film, they reshot the ending, which was filmed at Heather Point there in Utah. And they ended up getting married. It's a happy ending instead of a brutal. But for that, they had about 100 what I would call professional extras.
Had a really nice week.
In fact, I think we've got some photos there, haven't we, of King Arthur. They had 100 professional extras who were like around the main actors, and then they got all the locals in they could get their hands on. And everybody was done up in period clothing and all that. That was just before we got home. So 4 of us went down to the filming. And there it is after. The huge wing. Apparently it was so much Italian wing, it was 300 quid.
I was convinced.
And they splattered mud all over us. So fingernails were done as well, you know, real attention to detail. 500 extras for this one shot. It took a full day to do, and we finished like about midnight. But there took a couple of helicopter crews there. I mean, Jerry Bruckheimer was there, the producer. I mean, absolutely amazing. And it must have cost a fortune just for one weekend of filming. And that was a real experience to be in like a Hollywood film, because they don't film that many. At least not in this neck of the woods anyway. So that was quite a thrill.
And if you don't want them hosing you down with fire engine hoses, you can get special stuff.
One of the little perks, if you go to any of these things, and like when I did Miss Marple, it was set in the 1940s. And the Chelsea was matched out, and they had to cut my hair. So haircut is fine, I didn't mind that, take all the sideburns and that. Paying you 50 quid for a haircut. I mean, this is brilliant. You know, usually when I get a haircut, I've got to pay them a tenner or something. So this is cool, you know, get it paid. And it's just extra.
I've had more with the beard on as generic man with beard than when did I with the beard on. You know, because you know, as with the beard on, you can be the man in the street, you can be, you know, anywhere in a bar, whatever. And then if they're doing like we talked with last month, I had a shave at midday. In the morning I was bag bombed. In the afternoon I'm a dead doctor on the floor in scrubs. You know, so you know, it's a question of, you know, what you're willing to do. I'll just rip off the beard, away we go, hair cloth.
Rob is what they call in the extras tray a specialty extra, specialist extra, and that he's got a slightly more unusual look, which you can get away with a hairy biker, or you can get away with a man in the street. There's something a little unusual, which I imagine is why you got the colour of magic work.
Yeah.
Really fitted in with Discworld
Yes, wouldn't let you really blend with the actors there. I managed to say hello to Rincewind and said, "You're looking good." There's a corner of Mayflower from under the big floppy hat. Thank you. Okay, so that's the only word I managed to get in there.
Is that Dave Jason?
Yeah. One chap was there, thought he was talking to him. It was his stand-in. They put a stand-in on the set of the shot. And he said, "Hey, I loved you in this and loved you in that." And he said, "Oh, except I haven't been in the one."
Never heard of it. Yeah, what was that like? I mean, how is that?
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good, yeah.
I got to speak to Cohen the Barbarian, who was very convincing, and I said, "But yours is a stick-on one, isn't it? You know, you got to sit there with your spirit gum and you're all." He said, "He's loves you." Yeah, but not really.
Any questions? Burning questions that need to know? Okay.
What was it like working on Doctor Who?
Doctor Who was a dream come true, to be honest. I was in pantomime with Rob at the time, 2 Novembers ago, 2005. The first series.
I was born.
Yeah.
That's when I was born.
The first series had just gone out, and I had the call. And they said, "Are you free?" No, they said, "Do you know what a digital camera was?" So they said, "Right, we don't want an answer now, but are you free on these dates?" And I said, "Absolutely." Well, I didn't say that. I said, "I'll phone you back on Monday." And I can't believe I even hesitated to say, "Yes, I'll do it." But I phoned him back Monday morning and just said, "Yeah, you're okay, you're down for it." It seems like the following week, so I was really nervous. And he was going to be doing this, the biggest thing I was ever going to get a chance to do. And when I got there, I found I wasn't a normal extra. I was a walk-on, which is like one small notch up from being an extra. Yeah, they wanted me to play the photographer at this party. So I imagine you all, I knew it was the Cyberman story, and just turning up there was, the Cybermen were like half kitted up, and I went to sign in when I got there. There was 3 of them in their cyber suits in Waterloo, and the thing was going all over the place, trying to do their business. And I thought, cool, yeah, this is it. I've landed here, this is Doctor Who, all right. And the main cast were already there. Billy Piper's mum was and Pete Tyler were just turning, they were getting chauffeured to the set and they turned up later. But David and Billy were already there, they're like milling around with me. Wow, this is it. And I hadn't, obviously, we hadn't seen David as a doctor at that time, but it was Doctor Who, you know. So my call time was 2 in the afternoon in Cardiff. So I left really early. I got there about 12 o'clock. And they called us through one by one to the costume people. They told us to bring our best suits. There's a couple of the extras. One guy came down from Manchester to do it, and his suit just wasn't up to scratch. And they sent him home. I said, "Sorry, we're not going to be able to use you." And he came from Manchester. And he was almost in tears. You could see it, like, oh, poor guy. But thankfully mine was okay. Another chap, they couldn't use him because it was going to be for 2 or 3 days filming. He couldn't leave his suit there, he turned up in it. He was all dressed up. And because you had to leave it for continuity, there was no risk of taking the suit home. Well, so he couldn't do it. So when he was getting to, I said, I would have just gone out or set jeans and t-shirt, you know, just to rather than this happen. But my suit was fine, so that one checked out. Back on the bus, waiting for the filming to actually start. And we got called in, and we did they were telling us the scenario. So, right, the Cybermen are slowly attacking this house, and it's a party, so everyone's in a jovial mood. So there's a few scenes with just the party and the actual action in the party. And we're moving around, and I'm basically taking photographs. And because later on in the episode, the Cybermen smashed through the windows. That had to be done at the very end. So the scenes where people were getting killed in that after the mayhem were filmed first. So they just said, who fancies being killed by a Cyberman? You're all going to get killed eventually, but who fancies getting killed today? Yeah, I'm up for that. So I got pulled over. Graham Harper, the director, said, yeah, he's fine, right height. And I said, brilliant. Yeah. So they set up a shot. So that classic shot of me getting deleted was just set up. So that's in the foreground. And Paul Casey, I think it was the lead actor, were right opposite each other, and they did it from behind my head and then in front of my head, and then they had another sideline. And that was in the foreground, and then there was all sorts of mayhem going on in the background. It was all choreographed. And it all started as soon as I did the screen like that. But we're wearing these earpods, remember the episode, and they literally had to squeeze them into your ears, and you couldn't really hear a lot. So everyone else was trying to listen for my scream, and I had to listen to the director to say action, you know? And it was difficult to be honest, but I didn't scream, and we took about 6 takes, I think it was. I was alright, I just had to scream and shake and fall onto a crash pad, which backed into another building, another room rather, and then everybody else had their some three of them actually in the corridor, various other things, and no corridor, I had to run down some steps. And that was like the first day filming. I was like, this is amazing. Even though I was there, I knew I had some more stuff to do. Like, so that was absolutely great. I suppose the next best thing that day was there's one scene where Pete Tyler is announcing his wife, and he was saying it's his 40th birthday. And, I'm actually stood right next to Billy Piper's right next to me in a waitress outfit. In between takes, you literally could just talk to them. It was fine, and she was complaining about it very fast. It was freezing in this skimpy waitress outfit. Because I mean, it was late December, and it was freezing. But that was the first day's filming, and it finished at about 2 in the morning. And then it's right back to film. But I was so, in the breaks I managed to get the photo done with David, which I now realise was very bad form to do that on the Doctor Who set, but I got away with it. And I was absolutely on cloud 9. It was amazing, imagine, absolutely. And then I had to wait the weekend to do the second day's filming. Which I did. I went up, and it was obviously set in the same location in the house, but it was the Cybermen crashing through the windows. That now iconic scene.
One which got a amazing
everywhere he kept the Cybermen smashing through. And their reactions, and the president, John Warrington, he gets deleted as well. It was basically doing all of that. Dr. Confidential were there. It was Billy Piper and David Tennant in their video diaries on family orders. Nick Briggs was there doing the paint pieces. I mean, it was just amazing. Phil Collins and Russell T. Davis were down as the set. So it was, just to be in that environment, it was just fantastic. Really. And if you're a fan and you knew what was going on, it was just incredible. They got to monthly when they were as well. TVs over there. Because it was such a big deal, and they knew it was going to be a big scene. They wanted, the behind the scenes people to see it. The official BBC stills photographer guy was there, but unfortunately, because I got killed on my last day, they didn't get an official snap of me getting killed, which is a shame. But I got some screenshots, which is good. For a mate of mine, so that was cool. As I said, all the cast were approachable. It was really all the extra work I've done. Mega professional. And there's no time to spare really, so but no expense was spared either. But in the minutes when you are free, you're all happy to talk to them, especially for your fans. So they loved it, and as I said, David Tennant was cool, and Billy Piper was all right. Actually, my photo, all right. The rest of them were the chap who played Pete Tyler. The camera they gave me just wasn't working. It wasn't flashing right. But he's a bit of a camera buff, so he sort of sorted that out, which was good. And then, of course, it was done in November. It actually went out then, so I had 6 months to wait. And the first episode went out, season 2, and we were watching. I was at Rob's house, and we were watching New York, and they did the confidential afterwards. They did a little teaser. And we were like, 2 minutes. This is what's coming up. And at the very end, there it was, my dad. And I thought, was that me? That's me. So he paused it, rewind. There it was, and that was the first glimpse I had that it was going to be quite a good bit. And then we had another 5 weeks to wait until it actually went, which it did, and I had a big party that night. Cake was in the Dr. Ride, brilliant. All my mates around. Then we watched it a couple of times the other evening. It was amazing, wasn't it? It really was amazing. That, obviously, the death scene was used at the start of the next episode, which was pretty cool. Then it kept turning up. There was that children's
UK Gold as well.
Yeah, the children's program, totally Doctor Who. It was shown. Yeah, it was shown to click on. It was in a Doctor Who Confidential twice. It was on BBC or the National Television Awards. It turned up. It was the same clip at the beginning. Then it was on. It was on BBC 4 did a program on alternate realities. It was on that. Then it was on Doctor Who got Show of the Year on an ITV channel. It was shown. Doctor Who won program of the year or something on news. I missed that. But it was on that. And it never stops. I'm catching up on Battlestar Galactica. And I'm watching Series 3. It's on my iPod, and it's one I've downloaded from there. And it's the American broadcast, so I'm watching it. Their Sci-Fi channel are showing season 2, and it's that trailer again. And I'm there. What's going on? It's the same scene. I've been running away. Absolutely everywhere. And of course, UK Gold is showing it. Well, it's like on once a month or something. So.
It's unusual when the glass vanishes between you and the other side of the screen, because it does spoil some of the glitz in a way, but then for a fan, it's a dream come true. I mean, the whole scene of going to an agency is changing now. If you go to any of the websites like The Casualty, BBC's got their own casting agency called Spotlight. And all you do is sign up there on the website, say I'm a fan, I'm interested, and you'll get on. You know, there was a busload of fans, I think it was something like 25 extras for Colour and Magic. They're just going to be
proper Pratchett fans.
Kids,
sort of.
They're coming up to get a T-shirt, a food, a couple of quid. It wasn't a lot, but they
had to submit their costume.
They had to bring their own costume. That was
submit it on the net, and then the best 25 were allowed to come along to the set and just enjoy it, which is brilliant. You know? I mean, when I did the Doctor 2, there was at least 2 of them real long-term fans.
I suspect they'll make it more accessible, like they've done with Casualty with this Spotlight agency. I'm sure they'll do that with nearly everything else, because that seems to be the way for the future, you know, because they get a different response from different people that you're really accused and you know the series. I mean, you know, who knows what you're doing.
There is always a chance of sort of overreaction. You still got to be professional, and that
don't look at the camera.
It's really difficult. Although I was able to grab it. It's really bad form to ask for an autograph. I mean, that's.
But if you ask the producer's runner, they'll get it for you.
Yeah, I mean, true. But I mean, I had that for you, so that was but I thought that. But you really, it's not done.
I'll never wash it again.
Unfortunately.
Other kids kill it.
But it can be cool, you know. I mean, I did a Casualty on Plymouth Park, 2 days film, and they were catapulting a car into the water. And you realise what a big show it is when you stand. The bathroom was packed. Kind of like Captain Justice, packed.
What the rescue divers and everything.
And there was only like 10 of us there, 10 extras with the main cast, and that could be quite something. And you know, you do feel special. It's like, this is all right. Really, it started raining and then rushing over. We were like, what's going on here? Like, you know, keep out the rain. But you do feel really.
My longest filming was in Laycock in Wiltshire, and I was this thing was coming up for Christmas, the Cranberry Chronicles, with Judi Dench. The actor I was working with was one who played Shakespeare in Doctor Who with the Globe Theatre. Something like. Yeah, he played Kevin in Shameless. Anyway, it was his name's Kelly. Something Kelly. Anyway, but it was fun to work with. I mean, mostly out of earshot of the camera, so we're talking amongst ourselves. We've got a lot of close-up work and a lot of distance work. And he's bantering happily with us. We're all saying, oh, what names should we call ourselves? And one says, oh, should we shout these names across the forest to imagine that that's, we actually know each other sort of thing. And we're supposed to be drunk buddies, drinking buddies sort of thing.
Not a lot of acting.
Yeah, and he said, what are you? One said, oh, I'll be Tom. One said, oh, I'll be Harry. And he turned around to me and said, who will you be? And I said, oh, Monkey Boy. And from that moment on, Monkey Boy was my name for the entire work. Yeah.
One of the drawbacks of being an actor, of course, is you do this thing and somebody can be months. Or I did Welcome to the Shell series, which was a German production, but I kid you not, I only got to see it maybe 2 months ago. Yeah, I filmed it in 2005, and I find well, not quite, but it just wasn't even shown over here. Miss Marple was another one. It's been over a year. I think it's just gone out.
We did a TSB ad in Tavistock, and it's not as if Tavistock needs any more rain, but they got 2 fire engines to fire hoses into the sky so we'd get ultra dredged, and then they never used the ad. They never used it, they just cut and room floor, so there's a cutting room somewhere with hundreds and hundreds of little shots of us buzzing.
I don't know if you've seen the Shell series photos on the I don't think I ever saw it, but it was a really, it was a good period piece, that one, and mega authentic, I mean, right down the very, some of the, there's one scene I'm actually stood in front of like a wartime newsagents, and they've gone to the trouble of getting actual proper newspapers and magazines in to fill it up for wars, and they've done a really good job on it. The clothes I was wearing were authentic, and that was the same for the smartphone. The trousers and that, it was all from the period that had been hired especially for it.
I think they knew Mike Payne dressed up from the moment he did a little bit for the local BBC. He was Mr. Smeaton, and I was a clay worker with my head in an oven, so all you got to see was my hands and my butt. But he got an entire piece, and it all looked very good.
I find it's far more fun doing period pieces. I mean, just you're in a character. I mean, the Doctor Who was great. But I was still, barely.
I think they'd worn you 3 separate times. They dressed me in almost the identical kit in 3 separate locations.
I would just love to be a monster. I hear the usual about the new series.
I met a dude as well. Richard Tunesy was on dude. Yeah. The biker on one of the gigs on the Crouch. And he did it was quite simple.
It is quite funny, if you do actually work a lot, you end up meeting the same people, because you're like a similar build or height or age that they were looking for, and you were sort of put into that folder, and you meet the same guys. It's interesting to see. You catch up with what people have done recently, what they're doing now, what they're about to do. Because Doctor Who's been going for 3 years, and Torchwood a couple of years now, more people get the chance to do it. Last year I got off 2 weeks, for 5 days filming Doctor Who, which I couldn't do because I just started a new job. Torchwood I got offered twice, and I've been offered twice in September, Torchwood again.
He was offered Captain Jack's bodyguard.
I was. Out of that twice, and how can they possibly do that? Captain Jack I ain't, let's be honest.
He's got a large chest, he's a big lad like a jock, to be honest with you. I think he was American football material when he was
a tad fitter than he was. But I was the right height, and I was prepared to have my hair dyed black, and they said that would be fine, but I couldn't. And you didn't do Torchwood twice, you did this year, haven't you? Yeah. And you're in the first episode of season 2.
On a flashback of his life, apparently I'm a soldier from the same planet as he's from, which was fun, dressing up in all desert gear, which is a good laugh, which is a bit of a clue as to what it's going to be like.
So it's what? Captain Jack's home planet?
Yeah, his home planet, yeah. And in the later one, like I said, in the morning I'm a vagabond in a drinking place.
And this is just a normal car?
With a bore upon my knee.
Oh, right.
Yes. And in the afternoon I'm a dead body.
Oh, right.
Just as a doctor. But I said, I thought I was here as a doctor because daily attendance contract was for a year now. That's not really the corpse again.
And you got to meet John Brown?
Oh, just many times. Yeah, many times.
And is he as much
He's very gregarious, is what you say. He's not just flamboyant, he's in your face flamboyant the entire time. When he's on camera, then he's serious. But the rest of the time he's singing vaudeville. He's been brought up on the stage in vaudeville, and that's just where he regresses to every 5 minutes. If you take the camera off him, he's breaking into some, West Side Story song and dance routine. He was saying the last thing was some of these props he reckoned came from Asda. And I said, that's your fault then because Walmart bought Asda. And he said, I didn't know a funny thing about Asda. He said, Walmart? He said, I went to school with the family that run Walmart. And he said, their family name is Gaylord. Okay. He's like that.
How does it affect you sort of like equity? Do you have to become a member of equity?
No, once you've got about 5 pink slips, you can actually apply for equity. I haven't, Jules has.
Yes, the repeated showings, but that seat is a dead seat.
Well,
does that qualify?
Well, it's funny. To get into equity, it's sometimes more luck than judgment. You've got to do 6 equity paid bits of work a year now. There were years when I'd done, say, 10 bits of work, because one of them was like an advert, so that doesn't count, or it was, they just weren't paying equity rate, and that doesn't count anymore.
So could be the £7 a month. That's quite steep.
Yeah, the actual membership is like 100 per year to be in, but once you're in, you're in. Thankfully with Doctor Who work I'd done and the Chelsea, all of that year qualified me to join, so I did. I thought, well, when am I next going to do 6 of work? But they will chase up repeat fees. Now, with the Doctor Who, if you're an extra, a bog standard extra, casualty or whatever, you won't get a repeat fee. Your fee for the day and that's it. With the walk-on part, I am a heritage thing. The laws are very bizarre about it. I mean, Doctor Who was very well paid anyway because it was the next step up to the overtime. I think I got for 2 days' work, it was 350 quid. It's an absolute bonus. Really much. Yeah. But the rules are for repeat fees, I think, from when it goes out, no, from when it's released on DVD, it's a year after that you then start getting repeat fees. So it's not a year after you made it, not a year after the broadcast, a year after the DVD goes out. And I think you get 1% of your total fee every time it's shown. Now with Doctor Who, 50 odd countries I think it's shown now. Plus, like we were saying earlier, it's a really go all the time. That could be quite good in actual fact. Even 1% of £350 is well worth it.
And on the other hand, when we went down to Port Isaac, we went down a couple of years ago with Graham from the Theatre Royal, because they weren't doing anything at the time. And they cast us down there, and then I didn't hear anything for a year. And then I got a call back, and they said, "Do you still look the same?" I said, "Yes." And can you rush us a photograph? I said, "Yes." I bunged it in the post to them. Then last Christmas, on Christmas Day, instead of looking for the Queen's speech, I had to look for myself for the Spanish trawlerman speaking Spanish. Handing Joey a bag of explosives. They give me 5 lines or so in Spanish to learn. And the language coach down there said, "Ben, you're making him learn a week's lesson in the space of an hour. It's not really fair." The nicest thing about it was there were dolphins out there in that day, and it was sunny, so you could almost reach down and touch the dolphins. There was a pod of 4 grown-ups and 1 baby dolphin bouncing around out there with us, which was lovely. But unfortunately, Martin Clunes' wife funds it all. I mean, they sell it on to the TV people, but she literally funds the whole production out of her pocket, so no extra, because mainly they're just used to anybody walking down the street. Gets more than 50 quid in the day. And sadly, I bounced my helmet off the floor while I was down there and broke the visor off, so I owed myself a new helmet by the time I came back, so I didn't break even that day.
So, I mean, what Rob did there, he was in what should have been paid equity rates, but Doc Martin never did. And in 5 lines, I mean, they basically got probably 500 quid's worth of acting work, plus repeat fees.
Plus you're jumping on and off boats in the middle of the ocean, which is quite a laugh for someone with a gammy leg, you know?
But
One of the crew members of the trawler actually fell from the trawler into the rubber boat, which was quite amusing. You know, they'd been hired for the day, 60 quid for 2 days out on the boat. You know.
But I mean, at least it was work and it was experience. I think
I got close up on the screen. I took up this much of the screen and I was on there for nearly a minute. You know?
You were seen on Christmas Day by, I think it was 10 million.
Yeah.
Who watched that special.
So you basically done a good regime. I mean, if you want to move on, then you can use that as part of your maintenance.
Well, yes, absolutely. It's a show reel, yeah. I mean, my neighbours borrowed it because they're fans and they didn't come back for 3 months. You know, so we're going to watch it. We're going to, I needed to send him on it.
I mean, it's surprising, even if you're only doing one every other month, how quickly it can build up. I mean, it really can. And, you know, suddenly, well, I see we've got a couple of pages now, without really trying. I only do it as a hobby.
If you're prepared to put yourself out and they're always available too, then there is scope for all sorts of things. I mean, drop of the hat kind of stuff. I've had some surprises, you know, dropped on me, or can you be
You'll be able to drop them on the places to get up there, which...
Just last week I had a text from a friend called Matt Dogcast. They're in Bath. It was for a costume fitting, then 2 days filming in Bristol and 2 days filming in Bath on Kieran Knightley's new film, The Duchess. Yeah, you know, 4 days on that. But like less than a week's notice, you know. It is really difficult, especially if you're in full-time employment. It's tough.
And if you can't find a B&B, take a tent. That's what I did at Lakelock. I roughed it in the woods next to the main location. And eventually the security said, when everyone's gone home, just come in, help yourself to the urn and everything like that. They'd cancelled the 10 tours because it was way too horrible out there. And I was in a forest in the middle of Wiltshire.
I have met
getting very wet.
The professional ones, and they go around in like little Winnebagoes or caravans, and they will drive from location to location. And the agencies know this, and they know they're available.
I had dry socks. I had dry socks for 1 day out of 7 because I nicked them from the wardrobe. I asked them if I could have a pair of socks, and they gave me a pair of socks. Oh, I got dry socks. But then they turned the fire hoses on us as well. For the drive home, I was still soaked again, so I was wet the entire time I was there as well.
So do you find that the companies will not just sort of look some talent, like say not all of them pay FT rates?
Well,
Does it depend on the production?
it does depend on the production. You can pretty much say anything. If there's a BBC show, if it's major ITV equity, there are exceptions, like Dog Mine, which is really frowned by equity. Movies will generally pay more than equity. Adverts generally pay more than equity. Pop videos, I've done any, but pop videos tend to have a one-off fee or a which is again above equity rates, so it wouldn't really hurt any contractual equity. But general BBC and ITVs, it's fine. I think the current equity basic pay is
A-level drama and you go to do your RADA, but people like Jules Burt, who famously got thrown out of RADA, when asked by his tutor to arrange the chairs, arranged them in the shape of a biplane. And that was the reason they chucked him out of RADA, you know, for being creative with the chairs, you know. I mean, it does make me laugh because I'm not RADA. I've done a bit of stage when I was a little kid, and I did a lot of singing for OAPs with Conical drama group from the church up there, and that was it. Go to Stirling House and sing to a room full of people where 4 of them clap out of 20 and 1 of them actually got what you were trying to sing because you could hear it. You know what I mean? But soon learned that knocking doors for Sky Telly, rejection and telephone sales, it all helps.
We have, not like the last year, but we have done some, we've been on BC, we've done stuff like that. We've done theatre work where we've had lots of rights to that. And so it's not just...
And that's more for love, because there isn't any money in it, and even if you
do it for free, yeah, we just do it for fun.
Rick Mail said, theatre people, knowing that we were all volunteers, you know, he was happy to chat at us, you know. He bobbed around, do something, right, and he really does bob around like he is when he's red. He's like that for real. He bobs around in front of you and he appears in your face like
we were
that.
in the drum doing Rostov.
No, it's the 13th, the one with the murder one of them.
It was a locally written play, Dungeon Square, and he was doing the New States plot, the negative role, so, you know, it's inevitable, you know,
Dungeon Square.
Dungeon Square, yeah. But what I found was doing this sort of amateur dramatics gave me so much confidence. So when Doctor Who came, even it's quite a big deal. I mean, you've got like that team right here, 3 camera crews on you. Plus, you can imagine what it's costed just to be there. You know, you really don't want to do that. So having a little bit of confidence, which we both got from the stage.
Yes, it's a test. I mean, whether you're willing to just swap seats with me right now, it's like if you're used to public speaking, then you're used to public speaking. If you're not used to public speaking, you might have, I mean, I'm probably in suffering some mild degree of nerves sat here in this chair right now. You know what I mean? Because that's the way it goes. I mean, sometimes you do feel it all, just like you're in a lift, ball up in the middle of your chest and you think, you know, oh, knees start going and stuff like that. But especially with lines on stage, I mean, oh, the retention it takes for some of the stuff. I was writing them out on the back of books and stuff, just in case, you know. I printed it all out small on the back of their books so I could have a quick look, you know.
I mean, you can do it. I mean,
so Bob Perkins straight, I'm reading from these notes here. I'm going to read this part.
Something I have noticed, obviously, you know, on the Doctor Who, he doesn't have to have the entire script in his head. It's done tiny, a few lines at a time.
Read a few lines,
they have to
do it, and then go back and read a few more lines.
So they only ever have to have 2 or 3 lines in their head at once, and then just a new shot. So, and often, like on the Miss Margaret, it was being rewritten as we were there. Some of it, I mean, incredible. It's true.
I turned up for Casualty, and they wanted me as a rugby player, but because I turned up in Viking gear, they said, "Oh, you came in costume," and they gave me a sling, and that was it. You know? But then they didn't. You know, they used the left shoulder. Out of 3 days filming, they've used one left shoulder. That much from 10 foot away, coming through like that.
I remember my first ever Casualty. I'd gone in. They get through hundreds of extras. So they've got quite a nice area for us all. And I just went in, and there was this guy sat there. He was out of the state, bandage around here, blood, and off he popped. He came out, he was right as rain. And I thought he looked so authentic, absolutely. And I was sat right next to him. It was so convincing.
I mean, it does reassert your faith in the NHS. And all of the doctors smoke. Outside of that.
I'm a registered nurse and I work at a local hospital in Penzance. And one of these very annoying people said, they've got the X-ray upside down. But I get barred. I don't watch it now. It's not a good program, but because I deal with it 40 hours a week, I don't particularly mind to come and watch it. But I do find it very interesting. One thing we do get very well with Casualty is the general buzz in a very busy area.
The prosthetics department.
Yeah, I mean, some of the surgical scenes, I mean, something's a little bit OTT, but I mean, I have been in a situation, I was saying to somebody yesterday at a hospital in Cambridge where somebody had a heart surgery done, and the artery they put around that actually so they cracked the person open there in the intensive care unit. I got told to stand on a box, put a glove on my hand, and here, lift this up a minute, and I was holding somebody's heart. Now, the thing I was thinking of, there's a remake of a film called The Thing by John Carpenter. And you know that scene where he's doing that, the thing goes, and I was thinking, that bloody thing shuts, I've just lost my hand. I think that opens like that, but that's the one thing I do like about you know, where it's filmed, the setup is so real. I mean, okay, I still can't figure out how the nurses can come out. They can do it all in 15 minutes, they come out as clean until they go to work. And have an awful drinking expensive wine glass. But it is very good. Like you say, you've got natural looking people. Because you're so natural, it does make it a lot more.
I think Casualty is famous for actors, really. They're often the radio times to be an actor, and Casualty is a competition prize. Yeah. But to be honest, they get through stats, probably 20 or 30 a day, maybe more. Yeah. The actual building in Stanley is in quite a poor part of Bristol. It's very run down, and they have a lot of problems.
Was it one of the old Bristol University buildings?
No, it's a purpose-built set, and it's near old
It's an industrial estate, so it's an industrial unit they converted.
But it's...
But a lot of their damages and things, they really have been there 13 years, at least.
They use a lot of students. Students will do it once every 6 weeks. They can be on it, and it helps them get from uni, so they've got stuff up there. For their sort of full-time extras, they have cheap accommodation, B&B for like 12 quid a night, things like that. They can get through the studio. But yeah, you see the fans are at a distance, are sort of kept at a distance, but lots of fans are kept. They're always hanging around, looking for the summer.
When they write about it, it's like 4, and listen to lots of heavy music, drink,
But suffice to say, if anyone's interested in doing it, anyone can do it, any age, any size, anyone can do it. It's a lot of fun if you're up for it. So I recommend it. Okay.
And on that note, thank you very much, Charlie.